would you kind of describe kind of what looks to be a arcing career kind of later than maybe most
Yeah.
see?
Yeah, well, I think everybody's career takes different paths, with everything. So, to say that everybody is going to walk the same path, isn't really fair. So for me, everything kind of happened at the right time, and maybe it was a little bit later, but, I was just kind of riding that roller coaster at this point. And, there's been good times, bad times, but, I thought that last year was probably the most significant so far, career-wise. And, it's paid dividends over the past, 8-9 months, and hope to culminate it with a spot on the World Cup team.
Did you always have 2014 in mind? At what point did that
No.
kind of become a realistic goal for you?
Probably not a realistic. I mean, it's still going to be fighting for a roster spot. So a realistic goal, probably, up until, a couple months ago, where it was a real possibility to just get called in with this, group of 30, hopefully. Still haven't heard official word, and anything can change at any minute, but hoping to get that call for the 30-man roster, and that, I think, is when it becomes, the most tangible. But I think last year, those 3 World Cup qualifiers, and getting those under my belt, it felt like, okay, you're part of the team now. You've gotten great results while you've been with the team, and nothing's really happened down your side of the field, and then you kind of put that in the bag, and you start to feel confident and know that you can do that job, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
What would it mean to you to be on the plane to Brazil?
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Like you said, everybody's paths are a little bit different, and mine has always been kind of the last-minute path, and I think that it'll continue to be that way up until that flight leaves from wherever it is, Jacksonville or Orlando, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, it obviously it'd be awesome to represent your country on the world stage, and just to be there at that point, I don't think is enough. I think it's trying to prove to yourself, most importantly, that you belong, and that you feel.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thanks, Clint. Clint thinks so too. Yeah, it would just be just an honor, first and foremost.
Going back to 2011, I think there was a game, probably like you said, about midway through against Portland. You guys lost. You got pulled at halftime. You made a comment about how you'd never been pulled at halftime before, and it seems like in the next game was the San Jose, Open Cup game where I think may have played right back. I mean, do you look at that moment?
He's feeling it, isn't he?
Do you look at that at that specific moment, or is that around that time where things maybe started to turn around a little bit, and the right back even being a fortuitous kind of turn of events?
Yeah, that was probably my first kind of foray at right back with this team, and it was a good result in San Jose Open Cup game. Yeah, I don't know if I can really pinpoint one thing. A big thing in my mind that stuck out was when I found out that Tiffert was coming to the team, and I was feeling good at center mid, and then I find out in the papers that another player is coming in who's played in the Bundesliga, and as a in my mind was a top quality player and a DP, to say but then that kind of lit a fire underneath me and kind of pushed me, I think propelled me, and having to push a little bit harder to get on the field and make things happen. And there's still been ups and downs and good games, bad games, but overall I think it's been pretty consistent since then. Yeah, but obviously getting subbed out at halftime is embarrassing, for any player. But I don't know if there's really been one point where I can look back and say, that was change in direction. But yeah.
Maybe Clint's just in a really good mood right now, or you guys have a special relationship. How has your friendship and relationship grown, not only here, but with the time with the national team?
Yeah, obviously, my first time getting called in with Clint, he's a superstar. And anytime, you bring in a guy who I had never been with the first team before, and then you get thrown in with a bunch of guys who are, just a different level. And, they bring a certain, I don't know how to say it. I guess it's stardom, I guess, with them, and when you travel with them, you feel their presence. It's a big time player who's played in the big time leagues and has been to a World Cup before, and but then you get to know him when he comes to your team, and you know that he's just a country boy, and he's a family man, and first and foremost he likes to have fun, and obviously he wants to win games, and he's I've just been impressed about, the way that he listens on the field to players around him, the way that he's always given 100% no matter what is, a credit to his character, and I think that other guys feed off of that too. And, the roommate on the road right now is Clint, and it's, a good time, to get to know each other even more than just playing with each other on the field.
We've seen you take the captain's armband and give it to Freddie Montero. Has that thought process crossed your mind with someone like Clint too, or are you happy to hold on?
No, I mean we've had the conversation before. We went out to dinner, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and we've talked about it. It doesn't matter who's wearing the captain's armband. It shouldn't be some sort of superpower that you put it on your arm and you all of a sudden play better, or all of a sudden you have more focus in the game. It's just, it is what it is, and that's, it's fallen on my arms, and obviously when I was gone, Clint took it and was happy to take it, and I think that anybody who wears it with pride, and most importantly, you do it for the fans, and it's an honor to have it. And when you look back on your career, you hope that you've given it your all to deserve, to wear it on game day, and it's just a special honor.
Let's assume for a second you do get called into camp. What do you feel like you would need to show during that stretch in order to ensure that spot on the plane?
I think what sticks out in my mind is the three games leading up to the World Cup. Is if I'm playing right back, no goals come from my side, and I'm creating offensively. Whether it's Graham, Alejandro, whoever's playing in front of me, is a good partnership being formed there with the right winger and also the center back to my left. And I think that good movement of the ball, finding Michael. These are all things that stick out in my mind, and. But also finding myself in the attack and picking my moments to go forward, and if you can get 2-3 good crosses from an outside back in a game, I think you're doing all right, and you're providing for the team. So maybe a little bit more attacking prowess, but also making sure that it's defense first. And when you're in a World Cup, sometimes things can come down to goals against, and so most importantly playing to zero and making sure that nothing happens down my side.
I think we're going to find out who's called Monday, probably in a U.S. Soccer press release. When and how will you find out? Yeah,
I believe I find out through email. I haven't found out yet. So usually it's an email, a couple days before it's released. So and it's just a waiting game, and that's how I'll find out.
Is it only if you're called? Do you know if they do anything to the guys who aren't called?
I don't know.
How has the time that you've been getting at left back helping you out? Obviously, it'd be other side that you'd be working on, though. Yeah,
I think it's just a shift in mentality, and making sure that you're defending. Nothing's coming down your side. No opportunities, no chances. So it's a good opportunity right now, especially with everything that's coming up in the near future. So using that as a tool, just kind of gaining those experiences, and it's all about what you see in games at that position that'll help you out moving forward. So figuring out certain instances, when to go forward, when not to go forward, when to foul, when not to foul, and being smart.
Now that you've gotten 2 full games under your belt, where would you gauge your match fitness?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I felt great both games, and especially with the turnaround so quick, I was surprised, how well I feel today, and which is good, which is great. I think we went about my injury in the right way once we figured out what it was, and we were smart about it, not pushing too early. So another good test on the road, and make sure you take care of your body, and Sunday will be a big one.
You feel like you could go 90 again on Sunday?
Yeah, the way I feel right now, I feel like I'm ready to go 90 again. And I think that's big, and I think that'll do wonders for my fitness and confidence moving forward too, knowing that I can push 3 games in 8 days, and gotten two wins out of the past 2 games, and if we can get another one, I mean, it says a lot about this team.
When people see a potential 29-year-old going to the World Cup, they might ask, why couldn't you have done it at 25? What would you kind of say? How do you kind of feel about where you were at that point in your career?
2010, I was, I think I was injured that year, halfway through the year. I felt like, that year actually we started off really well in 2010. I thought, that we were doing extremely well. And I it's a great question. I don't know if I've got a good answer for that, but I mean, the only thing you could say is everybody's, maybe the game IQ came a little bit later for me, and being able to read. Yeah, I also think at that time I was really pushing to be a center mid, and I wanted to be a center mid. I thought that was my best position. I wasn't really open to moving around the field, and I think as you get older you figure out the smarter you get, the more games you play, you can play other positions, and it's not because you're bad at, you know, center mid, but, you know, if the coach needs you to play somewhere else and the team gets results, then that's what it's all about. So maybe it's a soccer IQ thing, maybe it's, you know, tactical side of it, you know, and maybe it's a different coach's vision at the time than Bob's. So, you know, I think all those things play a factor.
Looking ahead to New England, how does a short turnaround change your guys' preparation?
Yeah, so today obviously, you know, just in the gym with a regen, I think trying to get the legs back as soon as possible, especially with a cross-country flight. You know, that's difficult in itself, you know, with a 3-hour time change and going back east. So tomorrow will be another, maybe you jump on the bike when you get into New England, get a good night's sleep most importantly. And then Saturday is a good day to train. And then it's not till Sunday night that you have a game. So you got, you know, 2 full days in the city that you're playing in. So just being smart, making sure your intake of food and hydration is good, and you know, just keep doing what you're doing. So at this point, we've been a good road team. So looking back to Montreal, you know, getting a good result on the road, and that was cross country too, with a connecting flight and everything. So being smart and you know, just taking care of your body. Anything that sticks out to you guys about their team? Yeah, you know, I think very athletic. You know, young. But with a lot of experience. I think they play older than what their team, you know, probably the team average age. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's got to be younger than ours. You know, but I think they're a good team, and they've gotten a few good results this year, and they'll be looking to push at home, especially when they know that we've had a midweek game, and you know, the legs might be tired from you know, traveling across country. So I think the first 15-20 minutes we'll probably have to weather a storm, but if we can you know, keep the ball, slow the game down a little bit, you know, all the tactical things, maybe like Dallas tried to do to us, then, you know, I think we find ourselves in a good end result. But again, you know, a very good team.